Hello and welcome to Mindset Changes series. Today we're going to discuss something that I call triangle of life. Lewis Carroll in Alice Wonderland, he said, if you don't know the direction, any route will take you there. What he meant was, in life, we need to have our goals set. What is it that we want to achieve at the end of the day? What do we want to become at the end of the day? Let me share you a story which has resulted into this phenomenon of triangle of life. When I just finished senior Sunday school, my grandfather, who was actually keeping me, called me and asked me a question which surprised me somehow. He said, how do you feel that now you have finished school and you're going to the world, as we used to go by then? My answer was, yes, I feel excited that I'm now out of the prescribed timetable, but I'm also very worried of the future, or what the future holds for me. Because as much as I'm excited, I don't know whether going out there, I'll find exactly what I want to do in life. He said, but sure, you have a plan. I said, yeah, of course I have a plan. But the issue is whether that plan is going to be fulfilled or not. And he said, okay, listen to this. In life, you are going to meet a lot of challenges. The challenges that you met during your 4 years at school will not be the same challenges that you're going to meet out there. They will be different. As you grow older, the challenges will also be at that level. However, sometimes it's easy to minimize or to mitigate those challenges if you have 3 cardinal points of your life. Sure, I became so attentive to say what it is the cardinal points of life. He said the first thing is you must have a direction and stick to it. If you want to travel from route point A to point B, surely you know where you're going. For example, you say you want to continue with your education. So that's the direction you want to take. Now, for you to have to reach that goal, you need to have principles that will guide you towards that. These principles will assist you avoid some of the distractions or something that are going to distract you along the way. And he said, I hope you have heard the words which say, if you stop at every barking dog, you're not going to reach your destination. You know, I've not never heard about it, but I just nodded to continue the story. Then he said, once you reach the destination, try to review whether what you're actually seeing as your end result is exactly what you had wanted to be. If not, evaluate what is it that has actually made you not reach that destination. In that way, you'll be able to achieve more than what you expect to achieve. Yes, during that time, it was just one of those stories. Did not make sense in my life. And I had a lot of questions than answers. And one of the conclusions was, well, these are one of the stories that old people would like to tell their grandchildren or their children, mainly when they are leaving their house, because I'd stayed with him for quite a while. In fact, most of my childhood. However, as I was growing, as I was passing through the college life, as I was passing through the working life, as I was passing through any community life, I found that these cardinal points, they are very important. Whether you are a leader, whether you are a family person, or what, if you don't have a direction, surely you will not reach your destination. In fact, the Bible says, if you're not able to lead yourself, it's very difficult for you to lead others. Because leading others is actually a service. So this presentation, which I'm calling Triangle of Life, is a three-part series which we are going to go through all the three cardinal points. That is the direction, the principles, and the reflection part of it, so that we know exactly where we are going. So, what is it when we say principled life or a life of direction? Sorry, life with a direction. What is it? Basically, a life with a direction is a plan of life which everyone else is supposed to have. It's something that you plan systematically to arrive at your goal. More of a strategy. And if we don't have that strategy, most of us surely will not reach our destination. So it's very good for us to have some sort of a plan. Even if it's very little, step by step, we'll still reach our destination. Additionally, having a sense of direction is associated with improved mental health. You know, when you have a plan, your mental uh, orientation is focused on one thing. If you don't have a plan, it means anything that comes your way, you're going to get it, and you'll be disoriented at the end of the day, and you're not able to achieve what you're supposed to achieve at the end of the day. You know, some of us sometimes we feel lost along the way, and that's underlying issue that because we don't have a direction, we feel lost, disoriented, and we have no idea of exactly what's going on in our life. So basically, we need to have that sense of life, or sense of direction, somehow. What are the risks of having no direction at the end of the day? There are several risks. One of which is that our mental health is actually affected at the end of the day. We are affected by that. If you do not know where you're going, you cannot have hope. And once we have no hope, there's loss of orientation, which sometimes is a contributory factor to suicide issues. Having a hopeless life. Now, how do we find our direction? I think that's the most important question. How do we find our direction? Even if you don't not have the impression that you have a strong sense of direction, it is likely that there's a sense of direction somehow, even in an unconscious way. We wake up in the morning, we go to church, we do this, we do that. That's a sense of direction. But the question is whether that direction is leading us to the right direction. Or are we building towards what we want to achieve in life? Because whatever we do on a daily basis should be able to lead us to wherever we are going. Now, one method of finding one's ideas or one's direction is to have concrete ideas that are achievable, ideas that are matching with our capacities, ideas that are matching with our talent. The issue of talents, how to find your talents, is a totally different issue, and we'll talk about it later in the series. Now, for us to find those directions, there's a few questions that we need to ask ourselves. And these are the questions that sometimes actually tard us from that, from finding a first direction, because we fear. For example, what are people thinking about what I stand for? If I'm a principled person, or if I'm a person who is sense of direction, are they taking me to be rude? Are they taking me to be pompous? Am I losing the community? Now, because of that fear, sometimes we're not able to find our direction. The other question will be, do these people think I'm strong enough to achieve this? So we sent ourselves on the community because we want to have a sense of belonging. Yes, as much as it's good to have a sense of belonging, but it's not all the belongings that will shape our future. It's us as individuals with our own direction, with our own way of thinking that will make the future for us. The other thing will be, do we have right information? Because unless you have right information, sometimes direction will not be there. So we need to have information that will guide us to find the direction. Within that information, we'll be able to isolate our values rather than goals. Because values are the guiding principle of finding our direction. And direction does not terminate itself. Determination is death. That's the determination. So each time you reach at your goal, which you had planned, you should be able to look at the next goal. That's how people progress in life. And those that have actually progressed, they are never satisfied with what they've achieved. So they will acquire more information about it and improve and find the new direction on that. Look at the successful entrepreneurs, how they do it. They always have a sense of direction. They know exactly what they want to achieve at the end of the day. But yes, I've asked, I want to have a sense of belonging. I want to have values. But the question still remains, how do I find the direction? First, or one, we need to draw a line between thinking and overthinking. Thinking is, today I want to do this, 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 and how I'm going to do it. And you start. Overthinking is, you think about it, you have several options, and you become obsessed with those options to the extent that you don't know which direction to take. That's overthinking. Now, research which was published in Forbes Health indicates that there's a certain age band which overthinks. The age between 25 and 35, almost 73% of the sample that they did, they were overthinking. They had several options and they didn't know exactly which one to choose. So they would analyze it until they reach no point of end. Then they go back, restart, all those things, having no point of return or point of action. Then the other age group, they said between 55, 45, I mean, between 45 and 55, they also suffer from overthinking. Why? It's obvious. Between 25 and 35, normally it means you are out of school, looking for a job, trying to settle. Some people offer, just go for business. Some go for this. Now, you have a lot of information comes on your plate, and you don't even know which one to take. But your goal is to settle down. Make sure you're actually doing something that the people actually say, yes, here he's doing something about it. But you find that you think until you find that the biological clock is actually clocking. Then the age of 45 to 55. At that point, you're actually looking at, if you have a family, your children are actually going into the teens. You don't know whether they're going to carry your legacy or not. You are thinking of retirement. You are thinking of your promotions. You are thinking there's a lot of pressures to the extent that sometimes you don't even know whether the job you're actually doing is that job. So let's draw a line between thinking and overthinking. Let's not overanalyze an option. It's either you are for it based on your qualities, based on your capacities, based on your talents, or you're not for it. which means the key here is to identify who you are. 2, take an action. We should reach at a point where we say, I'm not going to think anymore. I'll just take this action with all the necessary risks. Because there's no route that has no risks. Each route, each direction that you take will have its own risks. So based on your capacities, based on your capabilities, based on your talents, you should be able to say, okay, fine, I'll take this action because this is the capacity I have. The third point is trust in your instinct. These are the internal drives and alarms or red flags that will tell you you can do this. The inner self that you can do it. And this actually comes with making impact on your decision and health. So you need to listen to yourself, listen to your instincts based on who you are. That's why sometimes we need to understand who we are as a person. We can contact our psychologists, counselors. They will actually tell us who we are after listening to our stories and give us the necessary direction. That's sometimes we say we need to have mentors in life. We need to have models in life. Approach them and ask them how I have done that. We have counselors among us. We have psychologists among us. Let's make use of them. Most of them will say, we don't have jobs. No, we need to go to them. So we can only discover our instincts, or we can only be able to listen to if we're also able to listen to other people and what they tell us about us. Then the other point is, which is a bit funny, what makes us happy? Think that when we do, we accomplish, we're all satisfied. You become satisfied that I've achieved something here. What is it? Discover those. Make a list of them. And make sure that what makes you happy, is it attached to any activity? Pursue that activity that makes you happy. In that way, you should be able to achieve more in life. Then, as I've said before, discover your strength. Your strong points, those things need to be discovered. That's through self-evaluation, things that makes you happy, things that when you accomplish, you are all satisfied. Those are things. But also sometimes we need to listen to what other people are saying about you. Evaluate it. Match it with your qualities. Match it with your values. In that way, you should be able to find a direction. Because some people will say you are supposed to be a preacher and you tend to resist. Then you meet someone, you are a preacher. You resist. Why is it that everyone says you are a preacher? Try to evaluate your strength. What is that makes these people to be a preacher? Maybe when you talk, everyone listens. It means that's a talent that you have. So let's try to listen to what other people are telling us. This is the same even at our workplaces. Let's pay attention to what other people are saying. Some people may not be saying what they are saying out of malice, but because they love you. And you maybe just need to change. Then, as I've said before, focus on your values. What is it that you believe? You know, each of us is unique, very unique in ourselves. And those uniqueness, that's what forms the fundamental beliefs that guide the way we conduct ourselves throughout our lives. The greater the degree to which our daily actions are guided by our guiding beliefs, the greater the level of happiness will be. Because if you believe that I will not participate in this, and you are comfortable with that, that's your value. Stick to that. Then surround yourself with supportive people. This comes now and then, that we need to surround ourselves with people who can support us, not people who are going to distract us. Why? Because finding a direction, you need support. You need a support mechanism. But from only those that are positive, those that see value in you, so that see that you can actually believe that you can achieve greater heights than what you are doing now. Those are the people when you surround yourselves. Don't surround yourself with people who are negative, because otherwise you also become a negative person. Make sure that most of the times you have people who are positive thinkers. That even in a worse scenario, they'll still look something positive out of it. Practice the beginner's mind, which is a concept that has its roots in meditation. It encourages you to look at things from a different angle than you might have done previously. It requires taking into consideration a huge number of different options without overthinking about them. When assessing your options, make an effort to cultivate a mind that is open, not fixed, to avoid being influenced by your own biasness. By our nature, we have our own biasness. There are certain things we say, no, this one, yes, this one, no. Let's try to avoid those things. Then play a devil's advocate. Find arguments that are reasonable, rational, legitimate for choosing the option of each option that is available to you. You might just complete this by generating a list of benefits and drawbacks associated with each option, and consider the advantage and disadvantage of each of them, and see whether if their logical and analytical conclusions are matches with your instinct. That's the devil's advocate. Looking at the opposite side of the whole thing. Then let's avoid postponing issues. We need to eliminate tendency of putting things until later. Having worked for quite a while, there's a tendency in offices where many project reports are written 1 month to due date, or 2 weeks, or a week to due date. And yet all along, we have known that we need to give a report to a donor. Chances of us missing very vital information in that report are very high. So we need to make sure that we avoid the tendency of putting off an important job until the last minute. Someone actually, Mike Twain, Mark said, eat a livestock first thing in the morning and nothing worse will happen to you. What basically he meant was, if there's an important job to be done and there's a time frame, let's do it. Let's not wait until the last minute. Otherwise, chance of missing very vital points within the report are very high. Yes, we call it experience and whatever, but it has an effect on your health, because you cannot be working under pressure all the time. It raises your blood pressure, it was whatever. Just go back to negativity, where I actually talked about these pressure issues. You get it there, of having to do everything under stress. So we should not fear of doing an actual perform when it takes out of your comfort zone. That's also eating a frog. Sometimes we fear doing something that will take us out of our comfort zone. But unless we're out of our comfort zone, there's nowhere out. You're going to find a direction in your life. In fact, it is said that in order to get a princess at the end of the rainbow, you are going to eat a lot of frogs along the way. It means you have to endure the rain. But the princess at the end of the rainbow, and rainbow does not just come, it comes with rain. And if you are able to make that habit of doing first things first, which are important, we accept our own process of turning our great aspiration into reality. Then the last thing we need to do is we need to develop a specific goal attainment strategy, a strategy that we're going to attain that goal or direction. In order to attain success in what you are set to do, it is critical to establish your goals in such a much detail as visible. In addition, formation of a strategy with the intention of achieving these goals is of the utmost importance. Instead of talking about, hoping, or to achieve your goal, have a plan in doing so. Let's not be wishful thinkers. Let's be doers. Even in a small way, we should be able to achieve something. After all, every journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step. So it's up to us as individuals, if we really want to develop, to have a direction that is clear, that we know exactly what we're doing, based on our capacities, based on our talents, and based on our instincts, with clear options of what we're supposed to do. This marks the end of the first part of Triangle of Life. See you in the next episode. Thank you, and God bless.